6:31 p.m. All right, we're now going to start roll call. District 1, Commissioner Deshmukh.
Present.
District 2, Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner Babu.
Present.
District 5, Commissioner Guerrero.
Present.
District 6, Commissioner Canfield.
Present.
District 7, Commissioner Huynh.
Present.
District 8, Commissioner Gonzalez Muniz. District 9, Commissioner Yu.
Present.
District 10, Commissioner Park.
Present.
And citywide is also present. All right, next we will move on to action item number 2, approving the consent calendar. Do we have any discussion of the consent calendar? All right, we will move into voting.
Can we call for a motion first and a second before we vote?
Yes, sorry. All right. Now can we please get a motion to move into approving the consent calendar?
Commissioner Canfield moves to approve the consent calendar.
Can we get a second?
Commissioner Sanchez seconds.
All right, please vote on your screens. No. All right, we will now do a verbal vote. All in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? All who abstain? All right, this motion passes. Moving on to item number 3, public record. Do we have any public record or correspondence?
Yes, we do have one. And this is, it says, in acceptance of the Climate Smart 2025 updated plan, the Climate Advisory Commission added the following language seeking to strengthen the plan. And they would like the Youth Commission to consider the same language being added. So the language goes, the Climate Advisory Commission accepts staff's presentation on Climate Smart San Jose semi-annual status report and updated plan and recommends adoption of the Climate Smart San Jose 2025 updated by City Council. However, we are alarmed at the slow progress against the 2030 goals and urge the Council to invest in more urgent actions. We specifically recommend the inclusion early in the update document on pages 13 and 14, a section of at least one paragraph with the high-level heading and a graphic or bolding to highlight attention with clear language on how much we are off track from our climate goals and an acknowledgement that current efforts need to be scaled dramatically to meet these goals. In summary, they would like the Youth Commission to adopt a similar language. As representatives of young people who are deeply alarmed by the climate crisis, I suggest that the Youth Commission adopt similar language in its acceptance of the Climate Smart 2025 updated plan at tonight's meeting. And that summarizes the public record.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, open forum. Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment on any agenda items?
Yes, we do. We have one. Please come to the podium for your public comment.
Hello, Youth Commission members. My name is Jordan Moldow. I live in District 3 in Japantown, and I'm also the newly elected chair of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee for San Jose. Here speaking on behalf of myself, I know there's a lot of joint interests between the Youth Commission and the BPAC. We care about traffic safety and Vision Zero and achieving our climate commitments. And so I just wanted to speak a bit about the BPAC. We usually meet this same evening as you, but Occasionally we don't. We are not meeting tonight. We're meeting next Monday night. So if anyone ever wants to stop by and give some feedback to DOT, we're here most months. Next month we'll be hearing, or sorry, next week we will be hearing a presentation on the Vision Zero update. And also our meetings usually start 15 minutes before yours. So even if they do land on the same day, if anyone ever has any feedback they want to give to DOT, we meet down the hall. Usually we do open comment at the start if anyone wants to come, give some feedback, and then run over here. Also open to anyone else, friends or classmates who are interested in street safety and Vision Zero. And then lastly, just wanted to mention next week is the Week Without Driving. It's a national event that's meant to highlight the fact that 1/3 of Americans cannot drive, whether it's because you're too young to legally drive or you can't afford a car and you don't have anyone to drive you around. And the Week Without Driving is a pledge to try and put yourselves in the shoes of a person who cannot drive. And as youth, you may be interested in telling your elected officials to participate in the Week Without Driving. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any other public comment?
No, we don't.
All right, moving on to discussion and action section 5. Our first item, 5A, is the action item, Climate Smart San Jose 2025 Updated Plan. Please draw your attention over to Supervising Environmental Services Specialist Ann Ballas for her presentation.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Ann Ballas. I work in the Climate Smart Division, which is, as of recently, part of the Energy Department, formerly part of Environmental Services. I actually help manage our Climate Advisory Commission as well, so I'm definitely taking some notes on how everything runs here, and I'm really excited to see how everything goes. So let me get started with my presentation. I'm here tonight to present the 2025 administrative update to the Climate Smart Plan. Hopefully you all have at least some familiarity with the original Climate Smart Plan. That is the city's climate action plan. And this is our first administrative update to the plan since it was initially approved in 2018. And this provides a picture of San Jose's progress, challenges, and the steps we need to accelerate in order to reach our carbon neutrality by 2030 goal. So today or tonight, I'm going to provide a quick background on Climate Smart. I'm going to share updates on the 2025 Climate Smart Plan update, summarize some of the community engagement we've done on this update, review our pathway to 2030, look ahead to upcoming initiatives and milestones, and present some draft recommendation language for you to consider, as well as some next steps. A little bit of background. There we go. Let's see. Climate Smart San Jose was first approved in 2018 as the city's climate action plan, aligning local greenhouse gas reductions with the Paris Climate Agreement. In 2019, City Council declared a climate emergency. In 2021, Council adopted a resolution setting San Jose's goal of achieving community-wide carbon neutrality by 2030. And then in 2022, Council approved the Pathway to Carbon Neutrality by 2030, which identified 4 priority strategies to reach carbon neutrality, or at least approach carbon neutrality. These 4 strategies don't get us completely there, but they are like 80% of the goal. That includes expanding zero-emission vehicles, reducing vehicle miles traveled by 20%, electrifying buildings and appliances, and providing 100% carbon-neutral electricity. Climate Smart is part of the Energy Department and works across all city departments to lead, facilitate, and support climate mitigation initiatives, ensuring a unified citywide approach towards meeting our carbon neutrality goal. So due to the lags in data availability, 2023 is the most recent community-wide greenhouse gas inventory available, though we are just beginning to work on our 2024 inventory and hope to have that ready in early 2026. In 2023, San Jose's total emissions were about 5 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent. And transportation remains the largest source, making up 51% of emissions, followed by natural gas use in buildings, which is 21% of emissions. Compared to our 2017 baseline, emissions are down about 16%, which does show meaningful progress. But compared to 2021, emissions have actually increased slightly by 0.2%, indicating that San Jose is currently not on track to meet our 2030 carbon neutrality goal. This trend reflects our continued reliance on fossil fuel transportation and natural gas in buildings, and it underscores why accelerated action is so critical. However, we are on track with our electricity decarbonization goal. As of 2023, 95.6% of electricity provided by San Jose Clean Energy in their base rate plan is carbon-free, and our goal is 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. This year, we are bringing forward the first administrative update to the Climate Smart Plan since it was adopted in 2018. The initial purpose of this update was to align with the general plan update. However, that was delayed and they are only partway through that process, and that is expected in 2026. But we did feel like enough had happened to go ahead with our administrative update. In this administrative update, we didn't want to completely overhaul the initial Climate Smart Plan. So instead of creating new goals and new programs, we wanted to keep things aligned with the original plan, but incorporate some things that had happened since then. Key changes included incorporating the council-approved carbon neutrality by 2030 goal and strategies from the natural and working lands element. We aligned with new state and regional policies. We have streamlined metrics to focus on the most impactful actions for reducing greenhouse gases, those 4 strategies I mentioned earlier. And we've added new interim milestones for 2027 and updated some of our 2030 targets where the city has already surpassed that original 2030 goal. Most of them, we did keep our initial 2040 and 2050 goals, except in cases where we had already surpassed those. And then we also replaced old city action plans, which were specific programs and policies in the actual plan. We discovered that got dated very quickly and it didn't align with the annual changes in budget allocation and city priorities. So we felt that department work plans would be a more meaningful strategy. Those would be kept separate from the entire plan, but they would be updated on an annual basis, and we would work internally with the departments to come up with those specific programs and policies that aren't described in the plan now. Importantly, this update also adds language acknowledging that San Jose is not currently on track to meet its 2030 carbon neutrality goal and that accelerated action will be needed. Engagement. So for this administrative update, we reached out to both the community as well as internal departments in the city. We reached residents through events like webinars, multilingual outreach, ads, and we used a platform called Conveo, which was essentially like a PDF that people could interact with directly and incorporate their comments on there. And then we could actually reply to people through the platform as well. We generated over 200 comments through that process. At the same time, we worked closely with more than 40 staff from 8 city departments to ensure that the update reflects citywide priorities and operational realities. Together, this feedback strengthened the clarity, transparency, and direction of the plan. Looking ahead, Climate Smart and partner departments have several initiatives reaching key milestones in the next 6 months. So these aren't specifically mentioned in the plan, but they're just relevant updates that I thought some of you might be interested in that are coming up. On the clean transportation side, San Jose Clean Energy will launch EV instant rebates of up to $4,000 for income qualified customers. We'll begin engagement for the San Jose Mobility Hubs project and continue building our bikeways and expanding the East San Jose Mobility Project. For building electrification and energy, San Jose Clean Energy will launch the Go Electric Advisor to provide residents with electrification and solar and battery guidance and expand peak rewards for smart homes. In terms of planning, staff will release the draft Climate Adaptation and Resilience Plan for public review and complete adoption of the Connect North San Jose Multimodal Plan. Several of these efforts will also come before City Council in the coming months, including the zero waste element and climate adaptation planning. Questions on these specific initiatives can be directed to the departments leading each program, but if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with the appropriate staff. So what I'm asking from you all today is perhaps some recommendation language that we can present to council. I did draft some recommendation language here for you to consider, but it's obviously open to discussion, whatever you feel is best. The language we drafted is pretty simple. The Youth Commission accepts staff presentation on the Climate Smart San Jose 2025 updated plan and recommends adoption of the Climate Smart San Jose 2025 update by City Council. So that said, if you all would like to discuss the recommendation language or if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to do that now. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your presentation. We will now move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right. Moving on to commissioner discussion. Do we have any discussion? Commissioner Deschmuck.
I want to say thank you for your presentation. Again, climate is definitely an issue that I care a lot about, along with many of my fellow commissioners, I'm sure. And I did have a question on one of the items in your presentation. So you mentioned that your pathway to carbon neutrality had 4 pillars, that being zero emission vehicles, vehicle miles traveled, electrification of facilities, and clean power. In our capacity as Youth Commission, which would you recommend we'd focus on in our work plan?
Thank you very much for your question. I think that transportation is still our largest sector for emissions, and that's actually one of the areas that we saw that resulted in the increase in greenhouse gas emissions between 2021 and 2023. So in my opinion, I think that would have the most meaningful impact, and it does account for a significant portion of our greenhouse gas emissions currently.
All right, Commissioner Babu.
Thank you so much for the presentation again. Something to bounce off of Commissioner Deschmuck's comment. I do want to say, to the 4 pillars, which one possesses like the greatest challenge, and how do we plan on addressing it? And I was wondering if we could potentially address the challenge and how we plan on providing solutions to that to the recommendation and next steps write-up. And I also have another question after that.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. So as I said before, I do think that transportation, vehicle miles traveled specifically, is one of our most difficult challenges. But I do think that the majority of that is related to behavior change, which the city has always found one of the most difficult ways to result in change. That said, in terms of where the commission can have impact, some of you may have heard we recently did go before council with what's called a REACH code, which was a policy meant to support electrification of buildings in the community. It was a split decision, but it did not pass in council. But what I guess I'm trying to say is that I do feel like building electrification is something where policy can more easily be implemented, and therefore the commissioners likely have much more of a say in helping the council to make decisions in that way. So building electrification still contributes to a very significant portion of greenhouse gas emissions, and I would say that in terms of policy work, that would probably be the more meaningful area to focus on. Thank you.
And secondly, this is a more specific question and it might be general to the other sides, but how do we plan on measuring equity in terms of how, after like we roll out these changes, how do we measure equity? Because there's a lot of like low income communities around us and they're like historically underserved. And I don't know how we would make these new initiatives equitable because they could be expensive.
Absolutely. That is a very good point. The Climate Smart team, we like to call ourselves a small but mighty team, and we do the best that we can in our capacity to include equity into all of the work that we do. Now that we are part of the energy department, equity is also at the forefront of a lot of their decision making, and they do have equity pathways that are incorporated into all of their program rollouts. That said, in the plan update, we do have a next steps section where we specifically talk about an equity element that we would like to draft that would dive much deeper into how equity can be incorporated into the plan. And that is something that we hope to pursue much more deeply in the next iteration of this update.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Commissioner Park.
Thank you for your presentation. This is a very specific question. You said we're trying to move away from natural gas and for the building electrification. Do you know where the electrification is coming from or?
Yeah, thank you. Currently, about 95% of San Jose participates in the San Jose Clean Energy Program, which actually distributes energy to the city and is 95.6% carbon-free currently. So our goal is to get participation in that program up to 100%, as well as 100% carbon-free electricity that would be then generated and distributed to customers in San Jose.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Pradeep Kumar.
Okay. Hi, first of all, thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate the updates you've been giving us regarding the plan that you've presented. I just wanted to voice an email that the Youth Commission received. You might have heard it at the beginning of the meeting. It was from a youth resident in District 3 who's on the Climate Advisory Commission. And they pointed out that the updated plan doesn't directly highlight how off track we are from the 2030 goals and suggested adding clear language and visuals to show that upfront. And I think the Youth Commission definitely agrees with this recommendation. And I think it's a really good point because as youth, we feel the urgency at most. And if decision makers don't immediately see how far behind we may be, the plan might not spark the action it actually needs. So we hope the council can reflect this concern early in the update to make the urgency clear and to emphasize the need for faster progress towards our climate goals.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did hear similar feedback from the Climate Advisory Commission, and we'll be incorporating that into our memo to council. And if you all vote to include that as well, we'll definitely include that recommendation when we go to council. It is right now, currently, we already do have the draft final version of the plan with the city manager's office. But that said, after we present to the Transportation Environment Committee, we'll probably definitely have opportunities to incorporate changes. Thank you.
Commissioner Yu.
Thank you for your presentation. I had a quick question about building electrification. So you say that you're bringing like a Go Electric advisor, which encourages people to electrify their homes. So like what incentives are there for people? And I know things that relate to like electrification, such as getting new appliances, installing solar panels do cost money. And so how will you help like low income families like electrify their homes?
Yes, thank you very much. So I currently am not directly involved with a lot of the incentive programs, but I do work closely with the team that does that. So a lot of that work is housed in the energy department. And they basically are continuously looking for either funding that is part of the ratepayers that pay for the green energy that they are generating. San Jose Clean Energy generates. A portion of that is used to create create incentives. And in addition, they are constantly seeking grant funding from, state, regional, or even federal funds that can be used to offset some of the cost for things. So they do currently have an EV incentive that is like a point of sale rebate, I think up to $4,000. And then they also are regularly striving to offset the costs basically above when people replace their heat pump, their water heaters or their HVAC units. The idea is basically to offset the additional cost that it would be to go with a heat pump version of the same type of equipment, making it just as cost effective to essentially purchase better technology to install in their home. And for any programs, there is always an equity component where they have a goal of reaching a certain percentage in based on specific criteria depending on the type of program that they're rolling out. But they do specific marketing like based on zip code or targeted outreach to specific addresses based on other programs people have participated in and things like that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time to come out here. I just wanted a quick kind of like a little bit to gain a little bit more insight. I've been I saw in your slideshow and I've been following closely with the East San Jose Mobility Project. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same project that I think received like $5 million, right? Like 2024, right? For that same project. I was just wondering, like off your top of your head, if you like knew how like that investment and that has been helping with the bike programs, the rent a bike, and the fixing the bike. I think there's a fixing the bike like workshops like that. I did see one happen like at Mount Pleasant not too long ago, and those have been really cool to see. And I've seen a lot of my neighbors come out and go to them. But I was just wondering if like off the top of your head, you knew if there had been like an improvement of like engagement or like community coming out like because of that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I'm actually much more detached from those programs. That's more part of the Department of Transportation. But that said, we do regularly have update meetings with staff from the Department of Transportation. So just sort of through the grapevine, I've heard that there has been a lot of work on it, and they do feel like it's going really well. And I know that they are floating some really interesting ideas for like mobility hubs and things like that. So while I can't really give a specific update, I do know that it's something that they're really excited about and that they have really enjoyed working on. But if you are interested in more specific like numbers or anything like that, I'd be happy to reach out to Andrea in the Department of Transportation who works on that. Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank you so much for coming out here and for taking the time to come all the way to downtown, as well as for coming back for a second report after last year. We really appreciate the update. I actually have a question of my own, if you don't mind me asking. So first of all, I want to acknowledge the part that you included about including multilingual interviews with people to get correct data. We really appreciate this point since it is one of our priorities in our work plan this year, which is fostering a greater sense of community, emphasizing immigrants and those who speak different languages. And then as for my question, I want to ask, as a City of San Jose body, does Climate Smart exclusively use city resources for their initiatives, or do they focus on partnering with outside organizations or outsourcing initiatives?
Thank you very much. We actually do all of the above. So the Climate Smart itself used to be 100% general funded. We're actually funded partly by general fund now, as well as partially by the Energy Department. And then we also seek external funding in the form of grants quite often, although that has proved a little bit more difficult in the last year than in previous years. And then additionally, we do a lot of outreach that is really based in the city. We do work with the Office of Racial and Social Equity quite often with a lot of the initiatives that we're doing to, come up with ideas. We also have partnered with some of the organizations in Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services like Project Hope, which are very focused on specific communities in San Jose. But on top of that, we do also engage with external partners, community-based organizations, to try and have more of an impact in the communities that we've historically had more difficulty getting engagement from. So one of our goals this year is to increase engagement in specific zip codes where we haven't previously gotten feedback on climate smart initiatives and an understanding of how well people know about our climate action plan. So that is one of the things that we're specifically working on this year. And that includes translation services, planning out different types of workshops like in-person meetings rather than webinars, as well as specific organizations that actually have roots and are trusted in the communities that we're trying to reach.
All right, thank you for your answer, as well as continuing to include multiple languages in your resources. Do we have any other commission comment? Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar.
I, Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, would like to motion for the Youth Commission to adopt the following language, which I'll read right now. The San Jose Youth Commission accepts staff's presentation on the Climate Smart San Jose semi-annual status report and updated plan and recommends adoption of the Climate Smart San Jose 2025 update by City Council. However, we are alarmed at the slow progress against the 2030 goals and urge the Council to invest in more urgent actions. We specifically recommend the inclusion early in the update document on pages 13 or 14, a section of at least one paragraph with a high-level heading and a graphic or bolding to highlight attention with clear language on how much we are off track from our climate goals, and an acknowledgement that current efforts need to be scaled dramatically to meet these goals.
Do we have any commissioners seconding the motion?
I, Commissioner Park, second this motion.
All right, please vote verbally. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All those abstaining? This motion passes. All right, we will now, thank you. So I'm now going to ask you all for a motion to accept the Climate Smart San Jose 2025 updated plan in general. Do any commissioners motion this?
I, Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, motion to approve the plan.
Do we have any seconds?
I, Commissioner Park, second this motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose? All those abstaining? This motion passes. All right, moving on to item 5B, we have an informational on the 28th Street / Little Portugal Transit-Oriented Development Project update from Public Communications Specialist Anthony Lopez and Senior Transit-Oriented Development Project Manager Christina Phillip.
Hello, good evening, young people. Thank you for having us today. As mentioned, our item is about the 28th Street Little Portugal Transit Station Future Transit-Oriented Development. And I'm joined with my colleague, Anthony Lopez. So a little bit about what TOD means to VTA. Transit-oriented development is basically an individual site. A lot of these, we have a bunch of active sites around the county where we are converting the empty park and ride lot that is next to our stations into affordable apartments or mixed-use developments. in order to really encourage vibrant transit-oriented communities that have easy access to everyday needs, local businesses and services close by, and create an active street life where it feels safe to walk around. So here on these 9 tiles, you can see some of the sites that we currently have active around the county. Oh, and I wanted to ask if anyone rides VTA or has ridden on VTA, light rail, or bus. Oh, great. So maybe you've seen some of these sites. So the area we're talking about today is located near Highway 101. So it's east of us, down East Santa Clara, by East Santa Clara and 28th Street, between East Santa Clara and Julian, which is in D3. It is highlighted in the red-orange color there, and you'll see this blue line that crosses through it diagonally. That is symbolic of the BART transit alignment, which is an extension project that VTA is building out. So fun fact, I don't know if anyone has ridden on BART from Berryessa or Milpitas up to the East Bay or San Francisco. VTA builds and owns the BART station infrastructure in Santa Clara County, which is a little bit different than all the other counties. But so VTA is building this extension, and it's going to be underground, and it's going to connect from the existing Berryessa station through 28th Street, Little Portugal, with a new station underground right at that red asterisk. And then it'll continue down East Santa Clara, with the next stop being right next to San Pedro Square. And then there will be one more after that at Diridon, and then a last stop at Santa Clara Caltrain. So it'll connect the rail around the Bay Area. And then after the site is cleared, after the transit station construction has cleared, we have this opportunity for real estate development on approximately 12 acres of land that will be surrounding and on top of the future station. And so the reason why we have the opportunity for the TOD here is because this BART station is coming in. And then also the city, at the same time, the city of San Jose is updating the zoning in the half-mile area around that little red hat shape, because they know that the area will see more development interest, and they want to proactively preserve existing neighborhoods, small businesses, and housing, while also planning for this new growth. So the city is working on a Five Wounds Urban Village Plan update at the same time that VTA is working on this design development framework. And there have also been some previous planning efforts in the area for going back decades, actually. One major one was a neighborhood plan from San Jose State's Communiversity group, as well as more recently transit-oriented communities playbooks that VTA developed and kind of in partnership with the city of San Jose. So these have all led to a document that we have been working on for the last 3 years called the Design Development Framework. And that's kind of just a fancier way of saying real estate principles. So these principles are 90 principles over 90 pages, which are the culmination of a bunch of community engagement, studying the old plans, having new interagency convenings, and just this 3 years worth of project development in order to come up with the vision for what VTA and the community want to see happen on this 12-acre site. And just as an example, some of the other sites in our TOD portfolio are maybe 1 to 3 acres. The Great Mall one is 4 acres, which is pretty large, but this is 12. So it has a lot of opportunity for development. And I will flip through some of the pages of the DDF so you can just see it. But online, we have it available at vta.org/28LP development. And there are copies available in Spanish, Vietnamese, and English. And then the final DDF will also be provided in European Portuguese. So the goal is to encourage a vibrant and walkable station area after the future station is there, especially to and from the bus stops that will be located close by where you see the little star in this visual, and really making that a good connection between the stops and the future station. As you can see in blue, the city is also planning for a future bike trail, the Five Wounds Trail, that would run up north and south through the site and all along the parcels that go by the station, making this really a multimodal hub. And then as you can see in the light red orange, it's some of the parts of the site are very narrow, so the urban design team had to study the types of real estate that could potentially fit back there. And so this is just a subset of ideas of what could potentially fit. So housing, a food hall, artist spaces, educational partnerships. And then the block with the station is a little bit larger, so parcel sizes are less constrained, but especially along the old railroad track, which is the long skinny part of it, that's where some of these might better fit. And so something we might want to hear from you is what kind of housing or what kind of partnerships would be great to see in San Jose near a BART station in the future. So out of all the 4 sites in the BART extension, this is the one where VTA will have the most land. So we have the most opportunity to do development. And these are some of the principles that guided how we're thinking about the future development. And these were built on what we observed from the past planning efforts, VTA's policies. VTA has a transit-oriented communities policy under which all of our activities fall. We also have a transportation demand management policy and an affordable housing policy, and those all come into play. And yeah, some of these, they were also influenced by the community engagement, which included a previous group of the San Jose Youth Commissioners. And the 3 are to highlight cultural identity and address disparities, encourage new development that is both economically successful and grounded in place, and then also to make walking, biking, and taking transit the preferred mobility experiences. So the DDF is split into 3 main chapters and 3 main chapters of principles. So focused on culture and community, urban fabric and the environment, and then mobility and connectivity. And there are many topics related to arts, culture, community engagement, buildings, mobility, etc. So give it a read. And there's also a glossary in the back that explains some of the urban planning terms. So here's a sample of the climate studies that helped to frame how parcels could potentially be oriented on the site with sustainability and the environment in mind. So just as context, VTA's TOD program builds housing units and office spaces that help fulfill the quotas of city, state, or regional requirements for the growth that they have. And the DDF is not proposing to max out all the building heights across the site because that would be like a very monolithic looking box. But instead, the urban designers helped shape this conceptual vision that will show a gradual increase in heights towards the freeways so that the taller office buildings of E0 and E1 would be able to help buffer some of the heat and noise from the freeway. And then lower heights would be more on the railroad row side, which are the W sites. And that's towards the neighborhood that's adjacent to the site, and as well as on the side that's to the right, which is close to the existing neighbors, which are a church, a high school, and a social hall. So that'll help make it more pedestrian scaled. And then the circle is where the station would be. So when you come out of that station circle, you'll be able to directly see the iconic Five Wounds Portuguese National Parish, which, sorry, it's really, really faint, but you can see it kind of on the right along East Santa Clara. And then other neighborhoods like the local high school will have some privacy, for example, and they'll be more hidden behind other buildings that are near the plaza. So this is a sample concept of how streets and parcels could be laid out, and it meets the city's urban village plan parameters. Orange shows pedestrian pathways where no cars would go, so there could be a lot of walkable area around the station. Red is the plaza, and then green is potential open park spaces, and there could also be more within the individual developments. There are also potential new streets within the block, to further facilitate bicycle and vehicular circulation. And so this concept envisions local school and paratransit circulation on Five Wounds Lane, which is the one to the far right, and then along the middle of North 28th Street, which runs along the bottom. That would be where there's a goal to prioritize buses, shuttles, and transit so that they have priority access to the station. And then the new smaller streets that are towards the left are where potentially station drop-off could be, so that vehicle traffic is coming more from the Julian side, and less from the side where buses will be coming on East Santa Clara. This just shows a sample of the cross street near the station. So it's like a few lanes for cars, a shared use path for cyclists and pedestrians, and then lots of open space and the plaza and the bus drop off. Okay, so there are many attachments and reports that are also online that go into further detail on how the DDF was developed, which you can check out on our website. And the photos on the right here just highlight some of the community outreach and public engagement, where there were elements of art really incorporated, and youth engagement at the two local high schools and the Youth Commission. These were some of the themes that people upvoted in the community engagement that they felt really reflect the Little Portugal area, and that VTA would ask developers to help incorporate into their proposals. So this is kind of a summary of our first 2 seasons of outreach. We just completed a 3rd season of engagement for our public comment period, and we'll be compiling all these comments that people submitted on things like what is important for VTA to know and what they want to see in the development. This is a timeline to orient you kind of to what's ahead. So right now we just wrapped up our 3rd season and final season of outreach. VTA will work on incorporating comments and publishing the final DDF as the city adopts their urban village plan. And then the station will be under construction, hopefully for 10, but possibly for 12 years. And as it is wrapping up construction, the tunnel boring machine going from Santa Clara all the way over to Little Portugal, once they're in systems testing and completion, that's when our team at VTA, which is the Multimodal Planning and Real Estate Division, can then start putting out requests for proposals to developers and then selecting developers to work on building out the site. And that is our presentation. Feel free to reach out to community outreach at vta.org. community.outreach@vta.org. Or you can share comments with us now or at tod@vta.org. Technically, the comment period has closed, but submit your comments quickly.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right, I will now open the floor to commissioner discussion. Do any commissioners wish to speak? Commissioner Deschmuk.
First, I'd like to say thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciated the thoughtfulness in the architecture, especially when discussing traffic or taking advantage of wind. One recommendation I had for the uses for the row or the narrower patch of land is that I'd recommend a focus on housing, especially because affordable housing near public transportation could help San Jose residents get to jobs quicker or get around the city. And along with that, food halls, as I believe any street life is made up of the restaurants near it. I did have one question. Where could I access the DDF or to read it?
vta.org/28LP development.
Okay, thank you so much.
If you scan that QR code, it should go to the page.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Commissioner Canfield.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I could see how thoughtful this plan is. It's just a bit unclear to me. Will this housing be made affordable to community members?
Yeah, so VTA has an affordable housing policy in our TOD program that is at least 1/4 or 25% of all the units on a site. But actually right now, those 9 tiles that you saw, a lot of them are 100% affordable because the market environment is such that market rate developers aren't really building. And so what's moving ahead is affordable housing projects.
Okay, thank you so much.
Commissioner Park.
Hello? Okay. Thank you for your presentation. On slide 26 for the row, where you were mentioning about making homes in the red zone, is that finalized or as in is it just homes, food halls, and then hotels, or are there other spots such as economic hubs open to consideration?
Yeah, we are open. This is not anything finalized. This was more just ideas of what could fit there. So in the future, if you have any ideas for what you're thinking, economic related or otherwise, yeah, we're open.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Yu.
First of all, thank you for your presentation. It was really interesting. I had 2 questions. So first, for your BART extension project, does that have the potential to connect with the high-speed rail that I know they're currently working on that's going from SF all the way to LA?
Anthony used to work for High Speed Rail, but
Thank you for the question. Yes, that's a very good question. And yes, high-speed rail will connect at Diridon. So Diridon will be the stop in San Jose. So when the station's completed, it's directly across the street from the existing Diridon station. So yes, there'll definitely be a connection to high-speed rail.
Thank you. And my second question, you mentioned that there's potential for this land to be used for recreational things, maybe bringing in small businesses, having restaurants, food, things like that. But with that also comes a lot of traffic and congestion. So how do you intend to solve that? Or will there be maybe parking garages planned, things like that?
Yeah, so on opening day of the Little Portugal station, there will be a lot of parking as required for the BART project, 1,200 spaces, which is a lot. But over time, as the TOD sites get built out, each one will kind of build in their own parking. So either they'll make a parking garage or there will be an underground parking level or levels that get incorporated. But really the goal is to encourage people. Like first, there will be a BART station now, and then there will also be this new Five Loons Trail so that it's really easy to bike or walk to the area. And the city of San Jose has a goal of mode shifting so that more people are biking, walking, taking the train or taking the bus. And VTA has, similar goals in terms of this like station access hierarchy for who we're making it the easiest to get to the site. And the goal is really to promote the walking and the biking and the transit.
If I may, I give you a real-time example, a real-world example. A lot of folks go to Levi Stadium for events, and what we find is that people choose to use the light rail system. They even park at a headquarters or anywhere along the line, and it's much easier to view a game or an event. You don't have to deal with traffic, and so when people learn that and experience it, basically that's a mode shift.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for coming out here. Here, kind of like a question, kind of also a little bit to give more like insight to my peers. I went to Cristo Rey, and I clearly remember you guys coming like when I was in high school, like junior in high school, which was like 2 to 3 years ago, and talking about this, which I thought was super cool, and now seeing you guys here again, it really speaks a little bit more about the outreach and the effort you guys are doing to connect with the community and inform people on it. I think one of my things is I imagine right now my time at Cristo Rey, and the McDonald's that was like right there was like packed with like San Jose High students, Cristo Rey students, Sunrise students. So it's like thinking that there's a lot of students and thinking of the traffic does kind of scare me a little bit. But that, I'm pretty sure you guys have a lot of efforts and you guys have talked about the plans for that. A little bit about my question is right there on Santa Clara Street, like passing the bridge going on to like East San Jose where it turns to D5. They're like the small businesses over there, like the boot stores, the Costa Alegre, all those little small businesses. I did see in you guys' presentation, you guys talked about like talking to Cristo Rey, which I saw, and then the other schools. But what's the effort talking to those like businesses as well?
So the City Office of Economic Development, when we were doing outreach, was also doing outreach to a lot of the small businesses for the Five Loons Urban Village Plan. So they were engaged along the way, and I think business owners attended some of our community workshops that were held in 2023. And then there was also like one small business like focus group that was held in Spanish that was in the neighborhood. And our team also joined some of the people from the San Jose Department of Transportation when they were talking about the Urban Village Plan with the local business association. So we did a lot of outreach and interestingly heard back that they really want to see it become a destination. So there's more foot traffic and people coming to their businesses.
Yeah, cool things. Yeah, I know, because I remember seeing Anthony like 3 years ago there and then continue to seeing that. Like, it's really cool seeing the continuous efforts in, trying to get this message across our community. So thank you.
Well, we also should point out that the Mexican Heritage Plaza is working on its own plan on the other side of the freeway. And so they'll complement each other in a way. And so we've been to Mexican Heritage Plaza, School of Arts and Culture, basically sharing information with them, working with them. We did that as well with the Five Loons Urban Village Plan update. So have on your radar as well that La Avenida will extend, I believe it's to Jackson, down Santa Clara Street or Alum Rock on that side. And so it's not just about activating the 28th Street DDF in that area. It's also about activating going east on Santa Clara Street.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Sorry for me leaving really quickly. I wanted to ask for the opportunities for constrained land uses. Have you guys thought about like making any youth centers, especially since we've had like the recent loss of the Maxa Center, which got sadly burned down. Have you guys thought about like anything that would involve youth into it, since I see a bunch of educational maker spaces and food hall community spaces?
Thanks for the question. We have had some conversations about like, would this be a good satellite campus location, for example, for like, either I mean, the work study program of Cristo Rey or like San Jose State. But in terms of a specific youth center, I don't think anybody has written that on any of our comment cards, but I'm writing that down right now. And actually one of our other TOD sites where we just did developer selection near the Great Mall actually did propose incorporating a youth center in the ground floor that'll be right next to that train station. But it's a nice, good one to flag here too.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Pradeep Kumar.
Okay, hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I just wanted to know, 2 years ago, in September 2023, this was my first year on the San Jose Youth Commission. We had the opportunity to receive very engaging presentation on the initial planning of the 28th Street Little Portugal TOD. And if I'm not wrong, at the time, the focus was on community aspirations, such as like making walking, biking, and transit the preferred mobility options, and also ensuring that parks and open spaces were safe and welcoming for all age groups. And now in 2025, I see the emphasis has kind of built on that and shifted kind of towards detailed standards outlined in the DDF, including, I guess, enhanced streetscape design and building orientations that optimize the solar axis and wind patterns. And I think that's honestly really, really cool to see the development of this plan. I just wanted to ask a very general question. So how are these updated 2025 standards expected to balance the rapid urban growth pressures San Jose has while enhancing equitable access to amenities for historically underserved communities? And I guess how adaptable are these changes for community needs that are obviously evolving for the next maybe 10 to 15 years, considering future changes in like technology, climate, and demographics? That's kind of a long question, but yeah.
Yeah, good question. So I'll talk about maybe the last part first, which is the whole plan is made to be really flexible because we don't know what the environment will be in the next 10 years. Like, for example, autonomous vehicles or personal mobility and different things. Like, it's hard to predict those, but the plan, it shows one concept, but it's only one concept that fits within the parameters, but there could be variations, it could be different, it could look like a little bit different than what's presented here, but this was just to give people an idea of this is how many parcels there could be and how the streets could be laid out and where certain land uses could go on the site. So it is built for that. And then I think the important thing is that VTA has these policies for affordable housing, where overall across our whole portfolio, we aim to have at least 40% affordable housing units, if not more. And so that gets built into how we do negotiations with the developers and who gets selected and how much they build that has to be affordable. Same with the transportation demand management strategies. So like things like bike share or car share or scooter share or just, like even transit passes or other things that make it easier not to have to own a car. There's a specific part of our policy that manages those guidelines and those get implemented when we work with developers also. So I think it's the policies are in place to make sure that we have the right outcomes that we want to see at the end of the day. And then this is more the vision of like, wow, what could it be and how could it get built out? VTA is we get two sides of opinions. One that's like, you should build the highest density possible on all your sites because they're next to transit stations. And then we get another opinion, which is like, no, this is next to homes that are small and single story, like it's out of context. And so with each site, we kind of have to weigh the two sides and kind of meet them in the middle and that's why we do have this community engagement process that we go through to hear from all the groups, to hear people's concerns. And like, we know that the state of California needs affordable housing. We know that the Bay Area needs affordable housing. And we have this prime real estate next to transit that we do really want to build out. But it's like, how can we do it in a way where we're also bringing benefits to the neighbors So we do a lot of station access studies at the same time, and Anthony can probably talk about those. But it's to help determine priorities that the potential developments can incorporate that enhance access to our station or just make it easier to bike and walk in the area. Do you want to mention current ones?
The access studies?
Yeah.
So yeah, generally we have stations all over the county, and what we do is when we're planning a TOD, we try to go in and assess and analyze what the needs are as far as increasing use of the station by looking at the sidewalks and is there enough shade, is there seating, all the things that people would desire to have at a station. We try to basically have that documented. So when we actually build a development, usually there's funds available for improvements, and then we can prioritize and identify those improvements. And not just for VTA, but for our jurisdictional partners like the city and the county. They may go in to fix a road or improve a road, and they can look to our report to basically see what else they can do while they're doing that. But what I would like to say is that in general, what we're talking about is a transformational project. The La Avenida and the DDF, these are going to fundamentally change what you perceive, what you experience when you're in that area. And the key here is opportunity. So as young people in this valley, knowing what you know now, that we're sharing this information, is one of the reasons why I share this information, is that you can help shape that future. Now you understand what the parameters are and what we're looking at and how we're planning it. But that's to say that you may be involved with a development corporation, you may be involved with a youth group or something like that, and you can take advantage of this knowledge and try to incorporate your needs into this development when it comes to that point. I mean, we're looking at a decade out or so there's plenty of time to formulate your ideas and to come up with a plan. But that's one of the reasons why we're sharing, is because we want you to understand that this is all about changing the landscape and creating opportunities for the residents of the valley.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I agree 100%. The fact that, youth are like, the next leaders, the next, workers of, our future. And I think we are one of the main people that can outreach and shape the way this plan progresses. And I'm super grateful to have had the opportunity to see how it went from the initial planning to, I guess, how it's progressed now. And I'll definitely continue to follow it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Canfield.
There we go. Again. I had one question about the engagement summary where many people said that they wanted multicultural and immigrant community as well as Portuguese community. So could you elaborate on that, how you're planning to include Portuguese and multicultural community and legacy?
Sure. Let me go to that. I think it was. This one. So I think it will partially be up to the development proposals, but incorporated into a lot of the principles is aspects of multicultural design as well as outreach. And it was actually art and culture that ended up being highlighted as the first main section of principles, because that's what really came through from the community engagement. So if you read through the principles, you can see some examples where it is really about reaching out to local community-based organizations and making sure to have partnerships or get artists to participate in an advisory fashion or to be co-creating the art, and incorporating an art fee into some of the developments. So there's, and then for immigrant and multicultural community, it's also kind of interspersed throughout. I guess it's mainly in that first chapter out of the three, but then it's highlighted at the beginning and in a lot of the appendices files too.
And it's not just the architectural, qualities and some of the art that's installed in the plazas and things like that. It's also about the living culture. So, you're right next to Five Wounds Church. Five Wounds Church has its own calendar of events that happen every year. They also have the IS Hall, which is next door to that. And of course, you have Cristo Rey all in one little block. And all three of those organizations are constantly doing something, whether it be school graduation or whether it be I think they do a seafood boil event at IES Hall every year. But those will be part of the fabric of the culture that you'll find there. And it's also what makes 28th Street a destination. So you may come for the festa at the church, but you may end up walking over to Mexican Heritage Plaza. So the idea that it's just in the buildings is, it's about who's living there and the activities that people are engaging in.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Huynh.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation today. It was so insightful and like super interesting. I did have one question. I wanted to ask, noticed that your team has done 3 seasons of outreach so far. Do you plan on doing any more community outreach in seasons after this, and if so, what kind of outreach?
That's a great question. So this project was actually grant funded by a federal transit-oriented development grant, which we split up between 3 projects. One is this design development framework. The other was the city's urban village plan, which we helped to fund. And then the last one is a station area plan around Santa Clara, the future station over there. So those were all under this time-limited grant, which was intentionally for this planning purpose. We did incorporate a 3rd season of engagement that wasn't even in the original plan because the BART project stalled a little bit. And then so when we came back, we felt that we wanted to do public engagement during the public comment period. And so that's the one that we just wrapped up. But I imagine moving forward, I think we'll have to wait for the construction to get a little further along of the station. But then as it's coming closer, I think there could be more analysis done of, especially changing market conditions or changing economic or housing environments, and then also public engagement, especially like once it becomes an active TOD site, we have a full schedule of like an initial visioning meeting, like a listening session with the community, followed by a meet the developer, and then the developer starts having community engagement. So that same process that's happening for some of our other sites right now would also happen for any of the sites that get developed on this land.
And we are hoping to tag along with the city of San Jose when they release the Five Moons Urban Village update. So I believe that's going to happen early next year, possibly, and hopefully we'll have our final version of the DDF, and we can do a little bit of outreach there. It won't be quite the same, but help get the word out.
So much.
All right, would any other commissioners like to comment? All right. Thank you so much again for coming out here. We really appreciate you guys coming back, as well as giving us a presentation that is so relevant to us, seeing as we are part of the city and we use all these resources such as public transit. I also have a question and a comment of my own. So public transit is one of my personal interests, as well as urban planning. I've been into it for a while now, and I really like looking at the plans as well as seeing different public transit plans across the states and the country. And so I do have a few questions of my own. So when you are combining these stations with the housing, are you planning on making them mixed use residencies?
Yeah, it could be either. So it's usually up to how the developers propose it, but a lot of what cities are doing right now, and can't remember city of San Jose specifically, is if it's too hard to build commercial on the ground floor because sometimes it doesn't get leased out because there's already a lot of surrounding commercial, sometimes what they do is have like activated uses. So you put like the community room or the bike room or the front office there down there to make it into like a mixed use building that looks really active from the street. So there's like eyes on the street and it feels busy, even if it's not necessarily like retail, for example. But yeah, I think generally we like to see mixed use developments because it helps provide the community services and things that are just downstairs and easy for people to use.
All right, thank you. And then one other thing, along with your planning for these projects, how are you planning to accommodate all the guests we have for the Super Bowl 60 as well as the World Cup?
Sorry. This is far into the future. So I think, like it is how is VTA planning to do that unrelated to 20th
Yes,
Street?
well, how are they balancing the workload between the two? Like, are they prioritizing one over the other?
Oh, I see. So I think VTA is pretty large organization. It has, it has the highways team, it has the outreach team, it has real estate and transit-oriented development. So different groups has operations. And so I think like the Super Bowl and FIFA is really, being handled by our operations team. And so other teams are still able to work on some of their projects like this one. And then this project will be wrapping up by the end of this year. Just this planning document that we're putting together today. So then there will be time to, like help with the events as needed. If other teams are needed to support them. And then it will kind of reactivate in like 10 years out from now.
And I'll add for the World Cup and the Super Bowl, the planning also includes groups like our marketing team, and it's a regional effort. So it's not just VTA planning for this. We're working with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission and other transit agencies in the Bay Area to make sure that folks, no matter where they come in to the Bay Area to watch a game or visit, basically have means to get to the games using public transportation. And so that's an ongoing effort. And hopefully you'll enjoy what we have. I've seen some previews of some of the materials. And so I'll give you an example would be like vinyl adhesive floor decals that guide folks to which train would be the direct route to a stadium or where they're trying to go. But there's also things like wayfinding where the signage is being unified in so that you can travel from anywhere in the Bay Area and not necessarily have to read English in order to find which train or which bus you need to get on in order to get to a game. So it's really exciting stuff, actually. But as Christina was saying, it really doesn't affect us as far as our long-term plans and things that we're doing. All of our teams are pretty much, managing and collaborating as needed as we move forward.
Oh, group tickets is another exciting thing
Yeah.
that they're working on. So one person could buy tickets for your whole group instead of everyone has to have their own Clipper card.
A lot of thoughts going into it. It's amazing to watch it come together.
All right, yeah, I look forward to seeing it all next year. All right, any other comments? All right, again, thank you for the presentation.
May I offer one more piece of information? So on Thursday, VTA is having a strategic plan open house. And I would invite the commission to attend. It'll be at 6 p.m. at Roosevelt Community Center, basically right down the street. And not only is it an open house with many different departments from VTA showing what they do, it's also an opportunity to celebrate our 30th year in operation. So just letting you know.
And we left you each a sticker with stuff.
Wonderful, thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 5C. I would now like to call to your attention the Adopt a Storm Drain program presentation by the Deputy Director, Rajani Nar, and Environmental Program Manager, Tiffany No.
All right. Good evening, Chair, members of the Youth Commission, and public. My name is Regina Nair, Deputy Director of our Watershed Protection Division and in the Environmental Services Department here at the City of San Jose. I'm here with Tiffany No, and we wanted to share a new program that we're overseeing called the Adopt a Storm Drain. But before I begin, I wanted to share an interesting fact. Approximately 80% of all marine debris in our oceans actually comes from land. And it comes in many forms, such as litter, industrial discharges, or actual disposal. So as it relates to here in San Jose, trash is really the main pollutant that enters through our storm drains and in our waterways that goes into the bay and eventually into the ocean. So for today's presentation, here's just the agenda, which is going to include an overview of our regulatory requirements. And Tiffany is going to share more details about the Adopt a Storm Drain program. And we'll conclude with some volunteer opportunities where you can all help and we'll provide you some contact information. So just for background on the regulatory aspect, the Clean Water Act is a federal law that was established to protect all waterways for all of us to enjoy. It came into law in 1972 after the Cuyahoga River in Ohio that caught on fire, and that's in the picture on the top right. And this essentially was the birth of our modern environmental movement as we know today. The Clean Water Act prohibits the discharge of any pollutant into the waters of the United States. So we did have an opportunity to come to the Youth Commission about 2 years ago, and we shared about the Municipal Regional Stormwater Permit, which essentially embodies the Clean Water Act. It has been around since the 1990s, and the latest version came into effect July 1st, 2022. There are many provisions in this permit that addresses human behavior and how that impacts water quality entering into our storm drains and waterways. So what you see here is one of 22 provisions, and this is known as C10, which is a trash load reduction. And this predominantly focuses on reducing trash entering into our storm sewer and waterways. This is the most stringent provision out of all of the 22 provisions because of the specific deadline that the city has to achieve 100% compliance by December 31st. And the reason for the December 31st, we did get a 6-month extension from our regulatory agency called the Water Board, which is an administrative arm of the National Environmental Protection Agency. And so this direct discharge essentially addresses trash and biowaste from encampments living in our waterways and lived-in vehicles near our storm drains. So under this provision, the goal is not only to achieve 100%, but also to maintain 100% throughout the permit term, which ends in June 2027. The purpose of this slide is essentially to highlight all the different citywide programs that the city is doing to address trash that enters into our public right-of-way and potentially entering into our storm drains and waterways. I won't necessarily go into detail about all these programs, but what I want to highlight is the program that we're here to talk about, which is Adopt a Storm Drain. And it's essentially a call to action for all San Jose residents, businesses, schools, and community groups to help protect and keep our storm drains clear. So I'm going to pass it to Tiffany to share more details.
Thank you, Reggie, and good evening, commissioners. Thank you for having us. So the Adopt a Storm Drain program launched in District 1 on Earth Day 2024 and has since expanded citywide. With significant support from District 1, the Environmental Services Department, or ESD, as you know, rolled out the current citywide version of the program 1 year later, and so we launched in Earth Day of this year, 2025. The program is now featured on ESD's website, and so by committing to clean a local storm drain regularly, participants help prevent flooding, reduce pollution, and enhance our neighborhoods. So why does cleaning up our storm drains matter? Trash along the curb and sidewalk may end up entering the storm drain system and polluting our creeks and rivers. This is a huge issue in San Jose because there are 35,000 storm drains across the city, and all of those are connected to, drains and pipes that ultimately flow into our waterways and into the ocean. So our hope is for this program, the Adopt a Storm Drain program, to help clean up our storm drains, as you can see from the photo in the slide. And what do adopters do? So the citywide program encourages people to proactively remove trash and debris from around the storm drain, preventing flooding and reducing pollution. In the process, we ask that adopters record their cleanup data for us to track the program's progress and impact. The work adopters do promotes care and resilience in the neighborhoods, and we hope that you all will help promote the program among your community. And the city is here to support all adopters enrolled in the program. The city is offering reflective vests, gloves, trash grabbers, buckets, broom and dustpan kits for volunteers to use when they sign up. Volunteers are also required to review a safety video and tips before their adoption is approved. The Adopt a Storm Drain team is available via email and phone to respond to any issues or inquiries about the program. And as a form of recognition of their stewardship, volunteers can personalize their storm drains with custom names that are published on the city's program website. So how does this all work? There are 4 steps that you need to complete in order to sign up. And step 1 is to choose a storm drain on the map that we have on our website, give it a name, and complete the required forms. Step 2 is to review the safety video and tips and receive a cleanup kit. Step 3 is to check on and clean your storm drain monthly and before rain events. And then step 4 is to report your cleanup activity on the website on the activity report form, as I mentioned, so that we could track the program's progress. So we are asking for your support, for your help to support the program, whether that means you volunteer your school, your club, yourself to adopt a storm drain, if you lead a cleanup event or promote the program. We created an advocacy kit for volunteer promoters that includes guidance and tips for door knocking, conducting presentations, and posting on social media. And these actions could count towards community service hours. And as mentioned in previous slides, we'll be here to help support and guide you. Your support will help us get more storm drains adopted across the city, reducing flooding, improving creek habitat, beautifying our neighborhoods, and engaging with your fellow San Jose residents. So you can contact us via the email address and the number on the slide for questions or opportunities to collaborate. We encourage you all to support the citywide expansion of the Adopt a Storm Drain program because adopting a storm drain makes a difference in our communities and environment. There are many ways to promote the program, and we will be here to guide you along the way. So you are helping prevent pollution from entering San Jose's waterways and the ocean. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right, I will now open the floor for commissioner discussion. Do any commissioners wish to speak? Commissioner Babu.
Okay, thank you so much for this presentation. I'm personally super passionate about environment, and I think Adopt a Drain is very relevant to that. This is just a more specific question about the whole process. So will people that are interested in adopting a drain be required to do it for like a specific duration, or is it like a monthly thing only, or do they have to like keep doing it for a while? And I'm personally asking this because I would love to adopt a drain with my yak and, obviously help around, but I'm not sure if the future youth commissioners would want to do it. So I just want to know if it's like a particular duration or stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we don't have kind of like a set requirement per se, but the way that we're advertising it is that we want people to maintain the storm drains on a regular basis. So we're saying like about on a monthly basis. And then if you're anticipating rain, if it's forecasted, then also to check out your storm drain and make sure that it's clear so that there's no flooding issues. In terms of like a general time frame for commitment, what we plan on doing, since this is a newer program, is we're going to be checking in with volunteers on an annual basis just to see where they're at And then if we don't get a response, or if people tell us we no longer want to be a part of the program, then we'll kind of decommission, that specific adopted storm drain so that it's available for other people to adopt.
And really quickly, do we have like tech or just like a website where people can see which storm or which drains are being adopted already and which are being like discontinued by people?
Yes, definitely. So on our website, there's a map. The map is kind of small because of just how the website is formatted, but there is a link where you can open it up to be full screen. And it shows the storm drains that are adopted. They show storm drains that are pending. And what pending means is that the volunteer just needs to finish up the paperwork. But it also, I should explain that like the map itself isn't just like one color. It's actually multicolor because we also highlight storm drains that we consider like prioritized, and we have different levels of prioritization based off of like the likelihood of the storm drains flooding, or in our case, because we want to focus on reducing trash across San Jose, we have storm drains where we know that trash regularly accumulates. And so those storm drains on the map are a darker color, kind of indicating that they're higher priority for us. In addition to that, there are also storm drains that are considered unavailable. So you might see storm drains that are grayed out, and that's because we worked really closely with our partners across the city and Department of Transportation and Public Works to kind of determine like which storm drains just might not be ideal for adoption. Maybe they're next to like high-speed roads that we don't want people to be standing near. And so there are just kind of like nuances to the map, but I think once you check it out, it is a little bit more intuitive than what I'm explaining, I think.
Awesome. Thank you.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Have you guys ever had a school like adopt storm drains in their block? So like people that have maybe a club in a school that make sure that they have hands to help with that?
Yeah, we would love to have a school or a club in a school adopt the storm drain. We just haven't made our way to like contact schools yet to see if they would be interested, or see if there's any individuals in the schools that would take up that volunteer work. We do actually have a targeted outreach plan that we hope to implement like really, really soon. And on that list are the schools that are in close proximity. I think we put a buffer of like 100 feet or so of those like highest priority storm drains, because we really just want those storm drains to get adopted to reduce trash, to reduce flooding, but also because we know that schools could be like a really good partner in this.
Do you know where most of those priority drains are at, like downtown or?
Honestly, they're kind of scattered throughout the city because the way that we monitor trash along our streets is based off of the municipal regional permit that Rejni described, and they're randomly selected street segments across the city. And over the years, we've had a consultant come and do surveys kind of grading the level of trash in those areas. And so because of that, it really is like site specific, the level of trash in like different locations across the city. And so there's no, there's no one council district, for example, where they're all like concentrated. They're really just scattered.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Deschmuck.
On that topic, I run the Youth Commission's Instagram account, and I'd love to promote the Adopt a Storm Drain program, like to different schools or clubs using that account. So if you'd like, I can definitely make a post on that as well.
Oh, absolutely. And we actually have, so our primary form of outreach so far that we've been pouring more time into is social media, just because like doing the targeted outreach requires a lot more capacity. So we're kind of building up to that. But the social media that we've been able to do so far through our communications division has been really like fun, and it's received some positive feedback. So we have like a video of an animated storm drain, and just all these things that I think that hopefully you would be happy and proud to repost.
Yeah, definitely. And also I can make my own posts as well. So yeah, thank
thank
you.
you.
Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar.
Okay, hi. Thank you so much for your presentation. I just wanted to make a comment that I got to go to an event with the District 1 office that was regarding the Adopt a Storm Drain program. And I think it's such a great initiative, especially for young people to get involved with, I guess, what makes an immediate impact when it comes to, I guess, preventing pollution or just improving your climate in general. So I really appreciate all the work that you've been doing. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate your feedback.
All right, are there any other commissioners who would like to comment? All right, that concludes this section. Thank you so much for coming out here. We really enjoyed your presentation and we hope to see more out of the storm drain project.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Right, moving on to item 5D, which is an action item for Youth Commission Outreach Plan for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Our outreach chair, David, will be speaking on our outreach plan for the fiscal year. But first, do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right. David, you may go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Okay. So for my outreach plan, coming into writing this, I gathered a lot of inspiration from Neha's outreach plan from last year. And so many of the elements are similar, but I also included new verbiage and new goals for this year that would align with our work plan and work plan goals. So the three main objectives in this outreach plan are: one, promote youth advisory council and youth commission activities, events, and recruitment; two, develop community partnerships; and three, maintain relationships within the city through the San Jose Public Libraries and the City Council. And so for the first objective, this year, we really want to make sure that our YACs are growing and that we maintain that membership yearly. And so I created various action items to evaluate how the YACs will grow throughout the year. For community partnerships, I think it's very pertinent for us to create those partnerships, one, for our work plan in creating more cultural awareness and community, and also to gain more exposure through our annual budget summit. And lastly, for the third objective, to maintain relationships within the city, I thought that this was super important just to maintain that robust structure between the Youth Commission and the city's resources. And so, yeah, that's my outreach plan.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Huynh. Do we have any commissioners who would like to speak on the outreach plan? All right, we will now move on to a motion. So I please ask for someone to motion.
Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, motion to approve the outreach plan.
Could we get a second?
I, Commissioner Babu, second this motion.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All those abstaining? This motion passes. All right, moving on to item number 5E, we will now identify ad hoc committees to support our work plan objectives. And so I'm going to start off by introducing our assignments for the ad hocs, and then we can have a brief discussion on them, as well as describing them. So first off, we have the community ad hoc, which is underneath the general community ad hoc. On this ad hoc, we have Neha Pradeep Kumar, Edwin Sanchez, Fiona Canfield, and David Huynh. This ad hoc will be led by Neha Pradeep Kumar, and Cal Park is also on the community ad hoc. Commissioner Neha Pradeep Kumar will be leading this ad hoc and will take on planning meetings. For background, the community ad hoc is officially classified as celebrating San Jose's diversity and culture through exploring community building and placemaking. This includes fostering youth voice through culture and art, as well as conducting outreach and promotion of existing local resources and events, such as library resources. Both of these things will be covered in the community ad hoc and will be seen with further detail later this year. Next, we have the Immigration Ad Hoc Committee, which is also underneath the Community Ad Hoc. In this ad hoc, we have Commissioner Edwin Sanchez, Commissioner Babu, Commissioner Guerrero, Commissioner Yu, and Commissioner Kujareski. This ad hoc committee will focus on advocating for immigrant youth and families by promoting support resources, including but not limited to workshops, language accessibility, and safety. This ad hoc is especially important in these times, and we hope that this one will have a lot of turnout. Next, we have the Education Ad Hoc Committee, which is underneath the objective category of our work plan, which is officially classified as Evaluate and Advise on College Career and Literacy Opportunities and Resources in San Jose. For this one, we have Commissioner Anushka Deshmukh, Commissioner Neha Pradeep Kumar, Commissioner Dali Guerrero, Commissioner Huynh, and Commissioner Kujareski. This ad hoc will be led by Commissioner Kujareski. In this ad hoc, we will be focusing on not only the youth survey for our budget summit, but also uplifting community partnerships, including education. This will have something to do with the library, but also with community resources. All right. Do we have any commissioners who would like to comment on this?
Can we take public comment first, please?
Yes. Do we have any public comment?
No, thank you.
Do we have any commissioners who would like to speak on this? Commissioner Deshmukh.
I'd just like to mention, as communications officer, I'd love to be involved in other ad hocs as well, such as immigration and community, just to have knowledge in order to do online promotion as well. So just any information or any content that those ad hocs would like me to create, I'd love to have notice of that as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Deshmukh. Commissioner Park.
Do the our positions in the ad hocs confine us to that ad hoc only, or can we work on projects also?
To my knowledge, you may assist on other ad hocs projects, but you are a member of the one you have been assigned to.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Guerrero.
I know I had originally said I was interested in leading the education one, but now I see you're leading that one, so that's okay. I would be interested in leading the immigration one. I am attending the Silicon Valley Education Foundation's Education Summit on the 26th, where the CEO of Education Foundation will be there. Dr. Lisa Andrew, and then all the organizations we listed of the College Promise, the Spartan Promise, will be there. So I think that would be a great opportunity for me to grab insight and connect with people that we would be able to connect with further down the road.
Yes, thank you so much for your interest. Unfortunately, that is on me. I forgot to announce that our lead for the immigration ad hoc is Ruby. Yes. Any other comments? All right, I now request a motion to approve the ad hoc committee assignments.
I, Commissioner Babu, motion to approve the ad hoc committees.
Do we have any seconds?
I, Commissioner Park, second this motion.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposing say nay.
Nay.
All those abstaining? This motion passes. All right, moving on to item number 6, reports and information only. First off, we have the council liaisons report from Anthony Montes over Zoom.
Good evening. Hello. Can I just get a thumbs up that you can hear me okay? Perfect. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. It's been a kind of a slow September, right? We had that Labor Day weekend for the council. They had that Labor Day weekend, that Monday and Tuesday. The Monday off, and then the Tuesday they didn't have council. So there's only been 2 weeks, but I want to highlight a couple of things that I think are of importance, and based off what I just heard around your priorities, that I think merit discussion. So one of the first things, I don't know if you all saw, but Councilmember Ortiz submitted to rules um, a Muni code update that would require law enforcement to have identification on themselves and also to not be masked, right? So we understand that there are federal law enforcement that are coming into communities all over the United States. I mean, we've seen Los Angeles, we've seen Chicago, how they've approached that. And it's really scary to see people, law enforcement, people who are supposed to, protect and serve our communities, showing up, looking, very scary, faces covered, no identification. It's so bad. Some folks are pretending to be ICE in some areas in the U.S. So what the Munico does, or what this proposal would do, is it would force them to do that, to always have identification and to not be masked. The state, California, just did something similar. So there's a lot of ambiguity around how we can truly enforce this, especially against the federal government. I think we will see how it plays out in terms of enforcement and in terms of in the courts. But at the very least, I think the San Jose leaders are saying that there is a standard, right, so that we have our public service officers and we hold them to, and that they approach our communities with respect. They identify themselves and they serve us. There was also an amendment to a REACH code that did not pass. So for those who are environmentalists, right, energy consumption, a large part of it comes from transportation, comes from our choices when we go someplace. Do we, take a bike or hop in the car, take public transportation, or take your car? Another big energy consumer is the house that you live in. And single family homes, right? Single family being like, your standard home with front yard, backyard, kind of, not always, but it's really intended for one family, right? Not like an apartment complex or a condo or duplexes. So single family homes are actually one of the biggest polluters. And one of the reasons is, especially old homes, is they have either ACs and heaters separately, and those are big energy consumers. So city was trying to get ahead of a potential state law that would make it difficult to put in requirements when either you're renovating or building a new home. One of the requirements the city wanted to do is say, if you're going to replace your cooler, replace your heater, you're going to have to do one that has a heat pump. And that's when you have that, you actually have a heater and an AC, right? You have both. It's actually much more energy efficient. And now I'm forgetting, but if you go into the meeting, Councilmember Tordillos, who's formerly of the Planning Commission, was really good about describing the metric tons of CO2 that this would reduce just by doing this in San Jose, and it's really a small portion of the homes. It would only apply to single-family homes where someone's doing a renovation, right? And I think the sticking point why even some progressives and some conservative folks kind of aligned and said, we don't know how this is actually going to play out, is that they were trying to make it equitable by saying anyone with an annual median income of 100%, right, or something like that, does or below doesn't have to, right? And the problem was the staff didn't have good solution to how they would actually implement that. And there was some concern that if you do this, that the landowners, let's say you're a renter, that the landowner will actually pass down the cost of putting in that new AC heater with the heat pump. So it actually was a 5-5 tie. So probably since I've been here, it's one of the first times where something ties. Councilmember Mulcahy was out of I don't think he was in town. I think he was absent for this. So that he would have been the tiebreaker, but I'm not sure that would have passed either way. So that was interesting. There was also a civil grand jury report that showed that the fire department, this is separate, the fire department has a really difficult time recruiting women into the workforce. So it had a series of recommendations. that they said could help. It's really unclear whether or not it will. And then there were some recommendations that were completely rejected by the department. I just flagged that for you. I can't speak too deeply on that. I know that it's an issue that they've been dealing with for a long time, my knowledge, and it's one of the areas where the police department, funny enough, is actually done a lot to get more women in the police force than the fire department has. The last two things that are public safety related. Last week, the city was trying to reinstate the mounted unit for the police department. So that's the police officers on the horses downtown. And the San Jose Police Foundation was going to provide a little under 400,000 to do the upfront costs of restarting that. And the way the deal would have gone is they would have given the city 400,000, a little under 400,000 to do the startup, and then the city would be obligated for maintaining and running that program in the next fiscal year and beyond. And the staff report said that'd be around $120,000. That's just an estimate. It could be more. But the big sticking point with the council was that the staff recommendation said, receive that money from the foundation, and then in the base budget already approve that 120,000. And I just think folks weren't ready to have to just move through something budget related without an actual discussion. And I think probably one of the most constructive conversations I've heard this council have. If you want to take a look at it, that was last week. Ultimately, they Rosemary Kamei and Peter Ortiz wrote a memo basically saying, let's defer action on this until the next budget cycle, so when we can actually plan out how we're going to fund this program in the future. Because if you receive that money, now you're obligating to maintaining that program, and you just don't know what the next couple of years are going to look like. So that's that. And then the last thing was with the approved using grant funding from have you guys ever, there's a great Last Week Tonight segment with John Oliver about civil asset forfeiture, right? So anytime evidence or anything used for a crime is seized by police departments, they can actually get money for that, whatever that it's worth. And those support police operations and training and capital and like other equipment. It can't be used for like regular operations, pardon me. You can't use that money just to pay salaries for the police. It can only be used for training equipment, and then a part of it goes to crime prevention programs as well. So that is there's a new plane for the police department. There's only one helicopter for the police department that uses citywide. So this would give them I forgot the name of the exact model of the plane. But it's going to give the police department another tool in the sky to help catch any suspects and provide real-time location for any suspects that are running from the police. That's kind of the big big legislative stuff that was happening in the city council. October, there are a bunch of different events happening in your district, either through your council office or at a local community center. I know in South San Jose, the Southside Community Center is going to have a Halloween event on October 24th, I think it is. You just work through your council offices to figure out how you can get plugged into those. Lastly, I connected the Youth Commission liaison with PRNS for the neighborhood conferences. That's on October 4th. That's essentially like a big, conference that PRNS runs that brings in different neighborhood associations and teaches folks how to address, ongoing problems that they have. And there's going to be, it sounds like there's going to be hopefully a panel with some of your youth commissioners on it. Details are sparse, but I've been trying to facilitate to make that happen. It would be great to have the youth commission there. One, to learn, but also to provide some expertise about how you go about engaging your community and why you're civically engaged. All right, with that, I think it's my update.
All right, thank you. Do any commissioners have any questions? Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just wanted to make a comment about a couple of things. So regarding your update regarding ICE and immigration, I just wanted to let you know that you might have seen that the Youth Commission has immigration as like one of our main priorities, and it's just something that we as the Youth Commission acknowledge, and we really hope to, I guess, provide resources for or just have that as a main focus on our Youth Commission. And on the topic of public safety, I think you might have known I had the opportunity to attend the town hall that was conducted by Councilmember Campos. And I think that's such a great way for residents of specific districts to get to know who their officials are when it comes to like the San Jose Police Department, for the fire department, all of that. And I really like to see such events in other districts as well. And I guess have them more accessible. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Commissioner Deschmuck.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just had one question regarding the law enforcement identification. I was wondering what the status of that proposal would be and what you would estimate the time frame is until that could get enforced or passed.
Status update. I think it passed rules, so that means it should come in minimum at most. I think there's like a 2-week lag. So we may be seeing it not this next week, but the week after. I looked and it hasn't popped up yet. One of the hurdles is that the city attorney needs to look at it. The city attorney needs to do an analysis on what the impacts will be, how you're going to implement it, how you're going to enforce it. I think once they have a good sense of that, they'll produce a staff memoranda in response to that rules memo that Councilmember Ortiz. I wish I knew the Brown Act off the top of my head. I know that that Councilmember Campos was a part of that Brown Act. I think it was D4, which is Cohen, D1, Rosemary Kamei, and one. And now my memory is not serving me well enough. I don't want to say the last one because I'm not entirely sure. But those are the ones. So implementing it, city attorney has to go through it. They'll produce a staff memo kind of responding to how such a policy can be implemented and passed and enforced. So that's kind of where we are right now. And then what makes it more complicated is there's a state law now too, and that has to be also, overlaid to see what the impact is going to be.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I just want to say one thing myself. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'd also like to mention that our youth commissioners will in fact be at the neighborhood conference. We will be on the panel, and we will have plenty of things to talk about. Thank you for giving us that connection, and we look forward to seeing you there if you're attending.
I will definitely be there. Thank you all again. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next report, we have our Parks and Recreation Neighborhood Services from Lauren Vox.
Alrighty. Good evening, commissioners, members of the public. My name is Lauren Box, Recreation Superintendent for the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I wanted to share on behalf of the department a few opportunities with members of the public and commissioners as well. We have 2 grant opportunities that are currently available, one of which closes in a few hours, but there's still an opportunity to participate, which is the Trust for Public Land Park Activation Grant. So this is an opportunity for neighborhood associations and groups throughout San Jose to receive a grant of up to $10,000 or as low as $1,000 based off of your application that you submit. Think of it kind of like a Viva Parks type of event that you or your community do independently. So they're great opportunities to activate spaces that you wish we as city staff could do, but just have limitations to do that. The next grant, which I've shared previously to the commission, is the opioid overdose prevention grant. That one is due later this week on September 25th. All of the information for these grants and other grants that could be available in the near future are available on the department's website. So please take a look at that. And we'll also always publish those on our social media page for promotion. Some other fun things coming down the pike for PRNS. We have some recruitments that are going on. So currently we are recruiting for a zookeeper. But the big one is we're actually participating with many of our other neighboring departments in the Career Expo, which is going to be on Thursday, October 2nd. From 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Mexican Heritage Plaza. This is a great opportunity for those that are in the job market, and even for those that are just curious to learn a little bit more about city jobs, how we work, explore the opportunities that are out there. So highly encourage you all to, share this with your friends and your family. This is an opportunity also to kind of see what could be coming down the road with the summer season upon us. I know that sounds odd given that it's September, we just closed out summer, but people are actively planning for the summer season as we speak. And this is free to attend. There's no parking admission. There's no admission to actually enter the expo. So please check it out if you are available. And we do encourage folks to register, just to be aware. On behalf of the Recreation Division, just like our commissioners here in the chambers this evening, we are looking for members to join two of our commissions within PRNS, or that support PRNS, I should say. We have our Senior Citizen Commission, so we're looking for members that are over the age of 18, obviously being a resident in San Jose and not serving on another city board or commission, and of course not being a city employee. But so there's an opportunity to support that along with our Parks and Recreation Commission. So if you're an avid Parks and Rec lover, we would love to have you support the commission and become more involved with PRNS. In the spirit of continuing to grow and evolve, we are seeking feedback from our residents and our community center attendees, parks and things of that nature. And so we have a community survey that is available in 4 languages, English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. They're all available via this QR code, but they're also available at any of your local community centers. Most of the folks that have taken the survey, say it takes less than 5 minutes. So please, if you've participated at any of our community centers, we encourage you to respond and let us know how we're doing and what we could do better. Also, in the spirit of new school years, we have programs that are up and running. Vast majority have started just this last week, but that doesn't mean folks can't still sign up. Things continue to go on throughout the seasons and have different start dates. One big takeaway for the commissioners and members of the public that are listening this evening is that in October, we will be releasing our 2026 scholarship application. And I make a point to share this with everybody this evening because this is a huge way for us to help families that need financial assistance in registering for everything from our summer camps to our after-school programs, to our preschool, to our programs for individuals with special needs, and even for our older adult community. So we encourage folks to get a copy of that, available again at your local community center or online. Fill it out as soon as possible so it makes your registration process just a little bit easier. And once those are available, we will share that across all of our social media platforms and with the commission as well. On behalf of the Parks Division, they have a couple of cool events coming up. So on Saturday, October 4th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Leninger Community Center, they're bringing the best of camp to the community center. So think s'mores, bonfires, all those fun things. Registration is required. There is a fee to participate. More information can be found on the department website if you are interested in attending. From For those looking to chisel away at maybe some volunteer hours or give back to their community, our Volunteer Management Unit, or VMU, continues to host their Sunday series at parks across the city. So that information is also available on our master calendar, so you can check that out. And it'll also give you the link to filling out the volunteer form as well. Our friends over at Los Lagos wanted to share that they have a very specific scholarship for golf access. So if you are interested in picking up golf or know somebody that's interested, or somebody that's already an avid golfer, would encourage them to reach out to Los Lagos for their scholarship program, and that's independent of the city. And then lastly, if you guys were able to participate at the most recent Viva Calle, they announced their 2026 dates. So the first one of 2026 will be in April on the 19th, followed by June 14th and September 13th. So mark your calendar, save the dates, and tell your friends. Those are the 3 upcoming dates for 2026. As the previous presenter mentioned, our Community Services Division will be hosting the Neighborhood Conference on Saturday, October 4th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at City Hall in the Rotunda. Registration isn't required per se, but it is highly encouraged, as there will be some refreshments. And so we want to make sure we have enough to feed everybody as much as possible anyways. So it's encouraged for folks to participate in that. Also, as a general reminder to everybody, our 311 app is a great way to report both illegal dumping and graffiti. But for those that aren't interested in downloading an app, you can do that online on our website and get that information to us so we can respond as quickly as possible. And with that, we are on all the major social media platforms. So make sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Nextdoor, and YouTube for the most up-to-date information on the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. And with that, I am available for questions.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your report. I hope you have a wonderful night. Okay, we do have a little bit of time to take questions. No? Okay. Moving on to the next item, San Jose Library Report from Deputy Director Ann Grabowski.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Vidya Kilambi, Division Manager of Education and Learning Pathways with the library. SJSPL is celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15 to October 15. To celebrate, the library is hosting a variety of programs such as family dance classes, live concerts, story times, and arts and crafts. You can view all our scheduled programs on our website, sjpl.org. The San Jose Public Library joins libraries across the nation to celebrate and promote the freedom to read during Banned Books Week from October 5th to 11th to reaffirm our commitment to intellectual freedom and access for all. During this week, you can enjoy a variety of free events for all ages with engaging programs, some of which are in collaboration with San Jose State University. Highlights include a Teen HQ band theater performance, book discussions, branch displays, scavenger hunts, bingo activities, and much more. Full details at sjpl.org/bandbooks. There are some upcoming teen programs. Ready to Drive with Bay Cities Driving School, which is an online program, along with Smart Money Moves, Create and Manage a Budget. Our Mid-Autumn Moon Festival at the Seven Trees Library. How to Etsy Crash Course for Crafty Teen Entrepreneurs at Teen HQ. And for more information about upcoming events, please visit sjpl.org/events. The libraries will be closed on Monday, October 13th for Indigenous Peoples Day. Our King Library and our online services will all be available and will not be impacted by this holiday. Thank you. This concludes my report. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't think we do. First of all, I'd like to apologize, Ms. Kalambi, for getting your name wrong. I had the
No
old
worries.
information.
No worries. Anne was here last time. So.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to our next item. We have the Commission Chair Report from Commissioner Kuchereski. All right, everyone, here's my report. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge some recent events. Last week, me and Neha successfully presented to the Library and Education Commission. It was a really good experience for us, as well as getting to share our work plan with some very important people. Second of all, I'd like to acknowledge the work you all have put into your YACs. I've attended every single district except for 3, 4, and 8. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make D4 since we had multiple at the same time. But I'm very proud of you all, and I like what I'm seeing. You guys have put in a lot of work, a lot of effort to get outreach and to make a solid work plan. Very proud of you all. Please keep it up. Some reminders: don't forget to send your work plan to me and Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar, and make sure to add your events to the Google Calendar. In the future, we will be presenting at Neighborhood Services and Education Commission meeting on the 9th of October at 1 p.m. in City Council chambers, presented by Commissioner Yu, Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, and me. If you guys want to come and watch, you can also do that and represent the commission, or you can watch it online. It's another opportunity for us to spread our plan for this year. Some upcoming events, ad hocs are starting to meet soon. Especially October is when we start to launch some of our meetings. So look forward to some information about that from your ad hoc lead. And then we're starting to make our intro plans and looking forward to our survey that is going to start heading up soon and getting work done for that. As well, remember earlier, they mentioned the opportunity for the VTA public meeting on this Thursday. If you guys are interested in that, please let us know and we will send you more information. Secondly, on October 18th, there is an event called the Harvest Festival, which is held with the Parks and Recreation and Neighborhood Services Division. Please bring your YACs to volunteer if you have time or if you would like to help out. That concludes my report. Moving on to individual commissioner district reports. We're starting off with District 1, Commissioner Deshmukh.
Okay, to start off, on September 10th, I had my first YAC meeting, and in that it was more of an introductory meeting explaining how YAC works, how Youth Commission fits into it, to a lot of the new members that joined this year. Along with that, we've scheduled our next meeting to be September 24th, and that meeting will be creating our work plan, and that would be sent to the rest of the Youth Commission after it's created. Along with that, it would be the events that we're holding that year. Specifically on what we're doing in YAC in that meeting as well is that I've sent out an officer application form, and I would decide the officer positions by that meeting. And onto my role as communications officer, I have a calendar where I've scheduled posts throughout this year. And I'm currently done a Viva Calle post and a post inviting people to this meeting. Along with that, I'll be posting an introduction post with the reel we created today and a more formal introduction post. That would be coming out in the next few weeks. Thank you.
All right, District 2.
Okay, hi everyone. I know it's been a long night, so I'm gonna keep this really short. Regarding YAC updates, we're having our first meeting on Saturday at Santa Teresa. I've shortlisted and I have, I think, 15 YAC members, super dedicated ones, and super excited to see what this year will look like. Regarding District 2 specific things, I had the privilege to attend the District 2 Public Safety Town Hall. I got to meet a lot of police officers from SJPD. I got to meet the District 2 Commissioner for the Airports Commission. So that was really cool. Yeah, and in addition to that, I was working really closely with Marion to form our ad hoc committees, and I had the chance to present at the Library and Education Commission meeting last week. So that's all I have so far. I think you guys are doing really great, and congrats on a very successful second meeting.
District 3, Commissioner Sanchez.
I'm also gonna keep mine short. I'm really tired. But for District 3, we've had a neighborhood cleanup this weekend. It was really good. We also were able to, I got in contact with Amigos de Guadalupe, which I'm trying to get and see if we can bring them on one of the youth commission meetings just so that they can have like a section where they can talk about their wins in their new campaign that they won. And then just overall some good stuff and good ideas for trying to get more youth involved into the youth centers activity stuff right now because of all the Moxa stuff that I've been seeing. But yeah, there's more to come for the next meeting, and I'm excited for the meeting I'm gonna have with Emily soon.
District 4, Commissioner Babu.
Okay, awesome. I had my first YAC meeting this past Saturday. I think it was pretty successful. We had about 20 members show up, and then I'm planning to keep my applications open, so we're gonna have more. And I've already chosen the leadership positions for my YAC, and we plan on going to neighborhood like park cleanups and stuff like that as team bonding very soon. And I also have my meeting with Emily scheduled, I believe. And yeah, I have a lot of cool stuff planned for my YAC. Hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of events out and policies out. And yeah, thank you guys.
District 5, Commissioner Guerrero.
Yeah, we just had our first YAC meeting September 17th at Roberto Cruz Library. Thank you, Marian, for being there. And we had a couple attendees and a lot of like the YAC members were interested in having officer positions. So that's something like I'm working on finalizing as well, like creating a form for them to apply and then finalizing the positions. One of the things that we want to work on and one of my main goals is to do a lot of outreach in the East San Jose community. Out of all the attendees and all from the previous years we've had, we've only had 2 from East San Jose and the rest have been from other districts. And although I appreciate and I love having YAC members from other districts, I do want to emphasize and I do want to focus on doing more outreach and getting more East San Jose representation, especially in East San Jose schools. So that's something I'm working on. As for community events, something really cool just happened. So the Regional Medical Center, the one off Jackson, is planning to restore the Labor and Delivery Center on October 20th. They had closed it down, so this will allow East San Jose women to deliver their babies closer to home. As well as right now, everything happening with Moxa. Unfortunately, the Alamark district is looking on demolition plans and they're waiting on quotes. But the cool thing is that they were actually just, they were celebrated because they became an endangered landmark, which sounds bad, but they were recognized by the Preservation Action Council of San Jose as one of the endangered 8 threatened architecture and cultural city landmarks, which is really cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We just had our Grito event with the Councilmember Ortiz office, which actually happened here in the Rotunda, which is pretty cool. And then this past Tuesday, we recognized September 16th as Mexican Independence Day to the Comite, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that's all my report.
All right, thank you. District 6, Commissioner Canfield.
Hi, everyone. So this past month, a couple things I've been up to is I attended Viva Calle and helped foster community engagement. And we got to speak with other youth community resources, which was really cool. We went to their tables and they came and spoke to us as well. And I have my first YAC meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m. at MLK Library, and I currently have 9 members. I'm holding on accepting any more applications because I really don't know like what size I want to have, but if I go to the first or, have the first couple of meetings and see, I want more people, then I'll keep my applications open. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you.
District 7, Commissioner Huynh.
Hi, everyone. So District 7 had its first YAC meeting yesterday. Thank you, Marian, for showing up and helping me. It was super successful. We were working on our work plan and we're hoping to finalize our YAC work plan sometime at our next meeting. And yeah.
All right. District 9, Commissioner Yu.
Hi everyone. I had my first YAC meeting yesterday as well. It went pretty well. 11 people showed up and we went over like youth commission's work plan and I gave like everyone time to like think about what they want to work on like in the YAC specifically. And I'm also reaching out to some new applications I got, so maybe more people will be coming in. Our next meeting is on October 5th. We'll finalize the work plan then and I'll share it when we're done. And we'll also establish executive team positions then. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. District 10, Commissioner Park.
Yeah, so a lot has happened over the past month. We've had 2 YAC meetings. I'm into my second one. And we also went to the Almaden Valley Community Association to volunteer there and help out with their meeting for our D10 YAC work plan. We're going to revise our work plan, and I believe it will be ready by next commission meeting. And then also we're getting volunteer service agreements for adopting a park at Almaden Lake Park. That's going to be here soon. So we're up and running. We're already rolling. And yeah, thank you.
All right, as for my citywide report, I do not have much to report, but I would like to say our first YAC meeting will be on October 2nd from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at MLK Library in Teen HQ. Moving on to our next section, number 7, items for future commission meeting agendas. Do any commissioners want to add items to the agenda for our October or November meeting?
Yes. Can I add a date for our annual AIM event for District 4 to the agenda for next month?
For October? We cannot. Yeah. So you mean November?
Yeah, November, I mean. It's like I just need to like get the date approved for AIM during our November meeting.
Yes, we can get that approved to be on the November agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioners?
Can I add a project that we're working on in D10 that's not finalized yet, but will be revised?
So for that, as long as it's 2 weeks before the meeting, you can always add items to the agenda. First of all, events like that have to be approved first, so we can focus on that later.
Okay.
Any other commissioners? All right, moving on to section number 8, meeting schedule and agenda items. Our next meeting will be on Monday, October 27th, 2025 in council chambers in MLK Library, room 225, joint with the Library and Education Commission. All right, I will now motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a motion, please?
Commissioner Park, motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do you have any seconds?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposing? All those abstaining? This motion passes. We are now adjourned.